see if we can. So, all right. Today we're going to cover complaints, starts, and mail. But first, I want to make sure that if anybody had any questions they weren't able to ask last time about what we covered, just a reminder, we went over the dashboard, some of the little tablets here, as well as the production reports, how to create our reports, daily reports, do a little bit of analysis, change the preferences on the reports, and that sort of thing. Does anybody have any questions from last time that didn't get answered? All right, and if not, I don't know if anybody's had a chance to go in and play around with Dart themselves and look at your plant and the information that's come through already, but if you haven't had a chance, I encourage you to do so, as well as maybe print out some of the reports and show the carriers, because we don't want them seeing the reports the first time on go live day and not knowing what's going on. So I feel like if we give them a good heads up, everything will go a lot smoother. But okay, if there aren't any questions, we can go ahead and jump right into the complaints. So to get there, we have a couple different ways. One of which is to come through our dashboard, and we can come to our complaint section here. We can see that we have 79 complaints today, 51 are recoverable, 3 hot. We have 6 that are designated next day recoverable complaints. We have 51 that are unverified, 3 open, and 90 are repeat. We have 90 repeat complaints. So by clicking any of these, it will take you right to the Dart page so we can go and start playing around with some of the data. But to start, we could go ahead and click complaints today, which will obviously take us to the today's complaints section. Or we can come over to the hamburger menu, top left, come down to the complaints, and we'll just jump right into today's complaints. All right, as we can see, we're looking at the complaints for today. We'll have the header up here. We also have a scrolling header right there, letting us know, again, we've got 79 complaints. And this is so we can come in and see what we're looking at for the day, right? Across the top, we have a couple different headers giving us our information and the data below it. If we wanted to see recoverable yes, we could select that here, recoverable no. Will show us our recoverable complaints for today. Effective date, not so important just because we're only looking at today's complaints. But if we changed any of the filters here, we could come over, click show complaints, and it just refreshes the data for us. Okay. But scrolling across the top, you see we have a lot of different headers. And if we keep scrolling, they continue. We've got our customer's name, for instance, the frequency, starting in on our street information here, house number, direction, street name, zip code, partner ID. I want to show you guys the complaint text, which is entered by our customer service reps, basically letting us know what kind of complaint this is. Oh, it's a missed delivery, it's recoverable. This is a cancel send out request right here. But our complaint text lets us know what kind of complaint we're dealing with. Chargeability, if it's chargeable to the DSP, is the carrier. If it was, it'd be true. And a whole lot of other different fields to look at here. If we scroll to the end, we have the ability to make the complaint hot just by clicking the link here. Or we could leave it as is. Okay. We'll keep scrolling over. But a list of definitions for the headers in today's complaints and the other tabs that we're going to be looking at today can be found in NetHelp. That's why I think it's such a useful tool. But I have it open. We'll bring it over here. As you can see, that just has descriptions of the field names to go into. Like if you didn't, for whatever reason, checking out the client ID, you can come down here and check out this description there. Basically, in the future, if you ever need to remind yourself, you can come into complaints or any of the other tabs, and they have definitions for the headers that you're going to be seeing. I just wanted to point that out. If we wanted to export this to Excel, we could to easily manipulate the data. We'll just come over here to the top right and click Download Spreadsheet. It'll ask us if we want to open or save. I'll click Open. Screen. It comes up with a little message saying if you want to trust the source, yes. Just click yes, and then you'll be able to play around with the data in here. See top left, we've got today's complaints, the plant number that we're looking at. It's recoverable, it's recoverable all. If you were looking at only recoverable yes, I would say so right here. Now we can come in, throw a filter on, expand the sections here. Now we can really go in and just start playing around with it as we see fit and however we need to. If we want to look at by route, we can go ahead and do that. This guy's got a couple different addresses here in Westchester. Basically, you could come in and play around with it however you need to in your given day. Okay. So I'll close out of that. And that's the today's complaint. Any questions on this so far? It's pretty straightforward, you know, just showing you a little snapshot of what you're looking at for today. And of course, down here, if we have multiple pages, we can go ahead and select that, select how many we're seeing, and that sort of thing.
Theron, can you talk about the word recoverable because it's used so often in the headings up here? Can you expand about it?
The recoverable sections, sure. So let's see, let's pick a recoverable route. Basically where the route that if you need to send out a recovered paper, this is the route that's going to take care of it. Recoverable verification, in the hot complaints or the recovery sections that I'm going to show you later, we can go in and designate this recoverable verified. Basically, if the carrier said, yep, I've fixed the issue, I've delivered the paper, whatever it may be, you can go in and change the status from no to yes, just meaning you verified that you've fixed the problem and it's good going forward. Let's see. Other recoverable tabs up at the top that I'm missing. No, but that gets into the later sections that we're going to cover. You can go in and change the status of the recoverable. If it wasn't recoverable, this would be no. You could change it. I don't know. Okay, so we do have a couple of recovery no in here. Change that back. But we'll get into how to change the status of the recoverable complaints here, and I think it might be the next slide, or the next option. Okay, excuse me, any other questions or anything that I could go over a little bit further? Okay. So again, today's complaints. Come back to the hamburger menu to the complaints, and we'll look at hot complaints now. And again, we have the option of going to hot complaints through the Dart dashboard home screen, but this is just another way to get to it. Okay. Here we can go ahead and manage complaints designated by our client or the destination as hot or urgent. So to do that, we can create a report to basically pull the data and manipulate it however we'd like to, so we can see the status and the address, the info. Okay. So up at the top, we have a date range. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll just point out that we also have that sliding ticker up there as well, showing that we have 3 complaints, hot complaints today. All right, so these all require a formal response. We can either look at it today, it's automatically selected for today, or we could look at it in a calendar view. Go a couple days back, why not? Again, we have an option of looking at the recoverable yes or no. I'm going to leave it as all. Resolution status. This is if they're all, we're going to look at all the open complaints right now. If any were closed, we could go ahead and look at that as well. Or we could look at all open or all everything. Okay, account clean basically means that there's no ungeocoded locations, or basically the data is clean in there. You know, it's on a route, it's sequenced correctly and all that. If we wanted to only look at account clean, yes, we can. Or if we want to look at those ungeocoded locations, we would click no. Deliverable, you can select your day, but since we're looking at it in the date range, I'm just going to include all. And I'm going to just refresh our data here and click Show Complete. Okay. Now we can see our data is populated down here. And again, the header descriptions can be found in NetHelp. Just going to the hot complaints section and checking that out. But as we scroll across the top, we can see the product that the hot complaint is for, our reason code, and a pub reason code, which is basically what's the reason for the complaint in the system. It's the code used by us. Keep scrolling. Our route. Has it been resolved? No, it has not. None of these have. Again, we can see the status of the account and the data. They're all clean, so they're all geocoded correctly. Frequency, how often they're getting their paper. We can see our complaint date here, and the time that it was created, the complaint was created. Again, we have our recoverable. Yes, it is recoverable, or your recovery route. We have our client ID. So basically, it defines the company in which your plan is associated. Yeah, I'm using NetHelp right now already, just refreshing myself for the header definitions. We have our client account number, their phone number if we needed to verify with them at all, a last name, our address information up at the top, city, zip. Again, we're given a complaint text, so we can kind of see the more specific complaint, what it's for. This one, kind of small text, but I can't really read that. I picked an example I couldn't really read. That's my fault. But you see we've got some serious complaints here. They're all hot. I'm very frustrated with another no delivery today. Needs paper redelivered this morning, so you can kind of get an idea of what you're looking at here. Missing from, missing to dates. That's the first date that the publication was missing. If it was a range of dates, you'd see, for example, this could say 2/6 to 2/8. So 2/6 was the first paper that they missed. 2/8 was the most recent paper that they missed. Performance and chargeability. This is basically letting you know that if it's going to impact the DSP at all. Okay. And similarly with today's complaints, we can download this into a PDF or a Excel spreadsheet. Go ahead, click that, click open. This is the little error thing that I was telling you about. I'm just going to click yes. Enable it. And now we can go in and throw a filter on there, play around with the data as we need to. Again, we're given a little bit of a description of the parameters that we've selected. See that my date's in there, my date range. So you get a little summary of the parameters that you wanted to look at. Again, we can scroll over, see pretty much everything that we saw in that data dump, but now we're able to play around with it. All right, close out of this. There is a way to change the fields that you see up top. I don't know why you would, but it's done in custom view. You can see here that you can, for whatever reason, you didn't want to see I don't know, the performance. Just throw that out there. You can unselect, like you could, edit, and unselect. But for the most part, you're going to want to leave everything in there so you can see, you know, everything that you need to, everything that's important selected. And again, down at the bottom, we can see multiple pages, however many complaints per page we want to see. And that pretty much covers the hot complaints. It works largely like the today's complaints section. Are there any questions about this? Can everybody hear me too? I want to make sure that that I'm coming across okay.
Yes, the audio is good.
Okay, great. That covers hot complaints. Move down to the hot complaints verification, where we can actually go in and make changes to the status of the complaints. When you first open it, you'll see that there's no data in here. We have to go ahead and select our parameters in order to do that. So to start that, we're going to go to Filter up here. Now we're given a couple parameters here that we can select from. We select from our products that we want to see right here. This is the Dart test plant, so these obviously will be your products. We also have a calendar range here. The dates that we're going to be looking at are selected in yellow or gold. If you didn't want to see a particular day for whatever reason, just clicking it will deselect that date. We can see a resolved status or an unresolved status. So right now we'll just look at everything that's still open that needs our attention. Resolution deadline, if it's due today, if it's past due, we can check that as well. So we can see, you know, what complaints really need our attention first. Now we have deliverable status, next day, or deliverable days. Okay, then we need to get our data. We have two options to go ahead and do that. We can either hit get selected date or dates, which will take our parameters, our products, the resolution status, resolution deadline, deliverable status, as well as the date range that we've selected. If we just want to get everything in our parameters, we don't really want to mess around with the date range that we've selected, we can go ahead and get select all. So two different ways we can go about that, and then we can sort the data by, this is going to sort it latest to oldest, or oldest to latest, however you want to look at the data. Okay, but there's a little bit of a distinction that I wanted to mention to get the data that we need. So I'm going to go ahead and get selected dates so that I'm using the dates that I've selected up here. And we'll let it do its thinking. All right. So here we can go ahead and look at the data. It doesn't give us an option here to export to Excel because we're actually going in and changing things if we need to. So we can see across the top, we've got our complaint date, the route that it's on, customer account, what product it is, customer's first and last name, their number, address if we needed to contact them, frequency that they get their date. Confirmed date and time is going to be, if we've made any changes. You can see here that I've done a couple tests here in prep for this call. So you can see yesterday at 4:06, this is confirmed. And the resolution level is DSP informed, and we can add a note here. And the DSP can add a note as well through their DSP portal. And we'll get into that in the next week's training session, I believe. All right, so we'll just look at this top one, for example, since it hasn't been confirmed or anything. If we wanted to see the address on a map, for whatever reason the carrier couldn't locate it, we're not familiar with this address, we can go ahead and click the View link under Map, which will take us to a Google Maps page. Open it up, and Google Maps can't find it. Okay, bad example. So we'll close out of that, pick a different one here. Okay, better example here. So it shows you where the address is in Google Maps, and you can tell the carrier it's off St. Matthews Road, near Natural Lands, Byron Coed Preserve. You just kind of get a better idea of where the address might be. And again, you have the phone number here of the customer in case you wanted to contact them, let them know that the carrier is on its way to deliver a recovery paper, or the steps that you're taking to ensure that the complaint is taken care of. Okay, we come over to resolution level and click the plus sign. We're given a couple ways that we can designate that the complaint has been verified or it's been working on. We're working on it. All right, we've got DSP informed. You've told the DSP that about the complaint. They have an idea about it and they're going to fix it. Delivery instructions updated. It kind of self-explanatory. Maybe it was geocoded incorrectly, or for whatever reason not sequenced correctly, which caused the skip. All right, we told the carrier they're gonna fix it. We can select both of these. We can select multiple or just one. Address correction routed to the correct carrier. DSP confirmed. Spoke to the subscriber for clarification, visual verification, and special verification for damage, property damage. Bad storm, washed out the driveway, that sort of thing. we understand you can select that. For this, why don't we go ahead and select something different? We'll go delivery instructions updated, and we can click save. All right, and you can see here that it put in our date, the resolution levels right there. If we wanted to add a comment, we can do so here. Works largely the same way. Click the plus sign, add our notes. We could say wrong house number. I don't know. Click yes to add our comments. There we go. Our resolution's been updated. Our staff comment here has been updated as well. One thing to point out is that the notes section, the carriers won't be able to see that. That's only for you and your staff that log into this complaints verification page. Only you guys will be able to see that comment there. Okay, if we wanted to update a large number of complaints, if we want to resolve those all at once, for example, bad weather, we know that there's going to be a lot of complaints for bad weather, and we want to just knock those out all at once. We can do that by coming over here and selecting the checkboxes next to the complaints. And this time we're going to come over to resolutions. And we're given a visual verification checkbox that we can select here. And we can hit save checked. So it only impacts the checked boxes that we have selected. I'm going to hit that. We're going to hit yes. And what should happen is these should all be resolved by visual verification. Okay. So for the ones that I've selected, you can see here that the resolution level has changed to all visual verification. So that way, again, you can knock out a whole bunch of complaints without going in and individually selecting the resolution level all at once. Okay, again, we can go in and make the comment that didn't change anything to our comment section, just the resolution level. Are there any questions about hot complaint verifications, how to get the data, how to resolve a few in bulk, looking at the map, or changing the resolution level, adding comments? Okay. If not, we'll go ahead and keep moving along here. Here we have our recoverable complaints. Here we can manage our complaints. In DART, it's defined the repeat complaints as 2 chargeable complaints within 30 days. So that's what we're looking at here. Again, we have a ticker up at the top of our total complaints and how many are recoverable complaints. We can look at the status of them. Are they verified complaints, what we just did, or unverified? And we can go down and basically we're just able to review these complaints. We're not able to update the status of them at all. This is just so we can look at the data, get a data dump if we need to, and so we can show our complaints. Again, up at the top, got our account number, the recovery route. If we wanted to edit this route for whatever reason, we can come in here, click edit. You can see that it brought over the old route. We could enter in a new route if we needed to and assign that. At the time the complaint was created, the regular route that it's on, our reason code and our pub reason code, our product, frequency, house number, and address information. Again, we're given complaint text. If we change our little parameter at all, we can hit refresh to bring in the data. And we can also export it to Excel. Click yes. And now we can go ahead and manipulate the data how we need to. You can see that we don't have a little definition up at the top only because there's not a lot of parameters to select from. We only have unverified or verified complaints. Okay, but we could throw filters on here and really use the spreadsheet and the data how we need. Okay, close out of that. And that's the recoverable complaints section. Again, we can't change the status of them, but we can go ahead and print this out and use it how we need for the day. Again, if there are more pages, we can select down here however many complaints we see per page. Okay. Moving on to the recoverable verification. Okay, here, we'll come over to our settings page to get our data. We can change the date if we need to in our calendar view. It's automatically selected for today. Every time you open it, it will have today's date. We could select our route that we want to look at. So for example, we'll just look at 01. If we want to see the verified recoveries, we can, or unverified. I'll leave both selected, and then I'll click submit. Okay. And here we get our recovery route, the account number, the product. We've got an address line here. And right now, the delivery confirmation is no. These are all waiting for our verification and our recovery. If we wanted to see a more detailed view of address, we can go ahead and select the plus button underneath the line of data that we're looking at. Now we're given pretty much the same information here, but now it's populated down there, and we also have a Google Maps view if we wanted to use that to help us, make sure that the carrier got to the right place. Okay. Now we have the option to change the delivery status and to add a note. If we can confirm that the delivery was made to 218 Whitland Ave, Downingtown, Pennsylvania, we can go ahead and click, do you want to confirm? And they should automatically change, there we go. They should change the delivery confirmation to yes, from no to yes. Again, we can add our notes if we wanted to. Okay, so we can add our notes here. Click submit. Let's cancel out. And that changed the recoverable verification. So the next time we come in here into settings, look at our date, this should not show up if we've selected unverified. Okay, it'll take it out of the data window there. Okay, that's pretty straightforward there, how to change the confirmation and all that. Come back over. Oops. Click View Recovery Routes. Okay, here we can look at our recovery routes in a couple different ways. We could look at it by plant, by route, or by zip code. It's recommended through DART that if you only have one route in your plant, you look at it through a plant view. If we have multiple, we can come down here and click route or by zip, just depending on how many routes that we have. See up here, total recovery routes, we have got one. And across the headers up here, we have the recovery route by day. Okay, if we want to show recovery route details, do that there. It just refreshes the data, so it didn't really do too much. Let's come over to route. And we can see it by route and day. We could come in and make edits if we needed to at a different page. And this is what by zip looks like as well. And again, like many of the other reports, we can export it to Excel by clicking the download to Excel link. Show you guys what that looks like here. Okay. So a little summary at the top. Our plant, recovery type, it's by zip. That's what we had selected when we wanted to download this. Now we have our headers up here, our zip code, and the route that they're on. Okay, if we had more recovery routes, right now it doesn't look like we probably filter on anything or can manipulate it in any way that would probably be useful to us, but if you needed to, you could. Close out of that. If you wanted to show temporary assignments, we could select that. It doesn't look like there are any, so we'll leave it as deselected. Right now, based on our view, we could see that the ticker up top has changed. If we were in plant, it showed total recovery routes as 1. But now in our zip view, we've got 3. Okay. Are there any questions about what I've shown so far, or going too fast, too slow? Looks like we're pretty good on time here. We'll keep going down the line. Repeat complaints. This shows you all the complaints. I've already gone over this page. I'm sorry. Previous complaints. Repeats. Don't think I have, but going over this a little quickly in case I have. Works very similarly as the other complaint sections. We can see we have largely the same headers up top. We have the ability to select our date range. Any day that isn't today. The ability to see all recoverable yes or no. And we can download to Excel. Right. Scrolling over will give us our complaint text, our address information. If it was a date range, again, we could see the first date that it was missed and the last date it was missed so far. Delivery type, Z1 is home delivery, but that would appear here. Okay, if this is all data chargeable to a carrier. And some unused fields all the way over to the right. Okay, but largely works and operates the same way as on the other complaint pages. You can check it out. Download to Excel and manipulate the data as you need. Okay, previous complaints. Do its thinking. Again, this shows you complaints not of today, the previous. Yesterday's total complaints was 100. It automatically selects yesterday's date whenever you open it up. So we're looking at the 7th here. Again, same headers up top. And as we scroll along, address, much the same layout, not exactly the same. And the same capabilities where we can export it to Excel. Check out how many previous complaints we have and work through those as needed. Okay. That covers previous complaints. Next day, recoverable complaints. Go ahead and select that. And here again, we have the ticker up top. And this is designated by, we can only see reason code of ND, which is next day. Again, we're given an option to click on a date range that we want to see, or just by date, automatically selected as yesterday. Look from our complaint date, missing from, missing to. Again, we can download the spreadsheet to Excel. If we didn't like this view or we wanted to see all the complaints instead of going page by page. Here we can see when it was created. Recoverable verification, no, yes. Hot complaint, it is a hot complaint here. The others are no. Complaint verification, we have verified it. So this could be helpful if you want to export it to Excel to see the complaints that you haven't gotten to yet. Again, reason code is next day ND. Got our date, our customer's name, address information, and so on and so forth. Okay. Any questions on next day recoverable complaints? pretty similar pages. So once you get the hang of one, you'll get the hang of multiple pages. So that's one of the good things. Very user-friendly. CPM performance reports. So we could check out the complaints by the plan or carrier by route. Here we have a few different options to choose from. Starting up at the top, we have our date range that we can select from. I'm going to leave it as just yesterday rather. But if we wanted to check out the CPM reports for a range of dates, we can do that here. If we only want to see the chargeable complaints, we can select that. I'm going to leave it deselected at the moment. We have our CPMs for plant 3000, that's the plant we're in. Now we can see a little bit of the data that was brought back. We're in plant 3000. Total number of complaints 90. Total draw for the day, that's right here. CPM 8.97. Repeat complaints, we have 90 of them, and the same number of repeat CPMs. And we can expand upon this by clicking Show or Hide, which breaks it down here by product here, and plant, different products, total complaints by those products. So we can see LST has the most at 89, LSN only 1, all the others are good. Total draw for that product, CPM per, so the most is obviously on LST. 89 of them are repeats, same number of repeat CPMs. Okay, now we can even break it down further, just depending on our needs here. We could show CPM by route, which instead of seeing the total by plant, will now break it down by route for us. Again, I'm going to go Show Hide. Now we can see that we have the plant, but we also have our route. And the total complaints per the route. So this one has 10. Total draw of 109. Pretty high CPM there. 10 repeat complaints, and so on. But it's broken down now by route. And we can break it down further by showing CPM by warehouse and route. Again, to see the details. This is all warehouse 1, just because we're in plant 3000, this is the test plant. But if there were multiple warehouses, they would show up here, 1, 2, the route that it's on or in. And we could see that it's broken down again. Total complaints, total draw, CPM, repeat. Okay, so depending on how we wanted to look at the data, we could select anything from up here. But we also have different options when we download the spreadsheets to Excel, right? So I'm just going to click Show CPM by Route. We get this view here. Now we can select Download. We can download with details, or we can download with details and date. Kind of just giving us a few different options here, so I'll go through each one so we can see the differences. I'm just going to do a straight download. Get a little summary. We're doing a CPM by route, Plan 3000, our dates. And now we have just that screen that we saw when we hit the Show Hide button. Now we got our plant, our route, total complaints, total draw, and our CPM information. We can go around manipulating that however we need to. But that's just a straight download. It gives you the same information that you saw, but this time in an Excel form. We'll move on and download with details this time. Okay, here we've got our plan. It now brought in a warehouse name. Route's still the same, but brought in our product as well. So you can see that this route has CL product, and then it gives a little summary of that route at the very end. Maybe this one's a better example here. One route, different products, total draw, and then a little bit of a summary here at the bottom of that. Okay, CPM by details with a little summary after each route. Depending on if we wanted to look at that, how that helps us out, really just depends on you.
So what is the date range that you can query back, or how much history can you look back on for this?
Right, so let's see here. Date view, it looks only by a week here. If I select a date in January, like that. Okay, so you could go pretty far back. I haven't played around with that, but it looks like you could go back quite a ways. Just depends on how long or how much data you want to bring back, really.
So you could do like
if you go,
you could do like a 3-month or a 6-month query.
You could, yeah. It would just take a while to bring back all that data for you. But yes, you could. Okay, I'm gonna leave that so we can show you the last way to export to Excel. Download details and dates. Yeah. Okay, here. Now we have our details with our date. Here's our CPM date on the first part. Again, plans brought over for us along with warehouse name. Our route, products with a little summary. We have delivery type now brought in for us. And we have the ability to filter and format however we would like. Okay, so there's just 3 different ways that we can bring back data and 3 different ways that we can show it. And depending on how your needs are, one might work out more for you, whereas another, you don't use it as much. But first, we're going to select our data here, then select how we show it. Okay, CPM performance reports. There is also another tab here, CPM dashboard, but when I've gone into play around with it and prepare for this meeting, it hasn't opened up for me. So since we're running a little bit low on time here now, I guess I'm going to skip over that for right now. But if I play around with it and it works out in the future, you know, I'll take screenshots of it and bring it up to our next meeting that we have, so you guys can see what that's all about. But that pretty much covers and touches upon all the complaints here. The next part that we're going to move on to is the starts and mail. I'm going to start with the new starts. Here we can view, review, or download today's new starts or a range of new starts. Right, so it's automatically selected for NS new start and NSAC. I'll have to check back about the definition of NSAC at the moment, but NS is for new start. We could come over here and select our product, or select multiple using control or arrange just with shift. But for this, I'm just going to bring back everything. Once we have our parameters, yeah.
NSAC would be an account change, so like a frequency change on an account, an address change on an account, something along those lines.
Thanks. Just making a note of that myself here. Okay. So once our parameters are selected, we'll go ahead and click Get. Okay. Now down at the bottom, we see a little bit of a summary of the information, the new starts or address changes that we have here. Account change rather, sorry. And if we click on the Excel button, it exports to Excel. We didn't like looking at that little view there. Now we have one that we can expand upon. Okay, so here we have our client account number, what plan it's in, what route it's on, product ID, transaction type, what we've selected in our parameters at the beginning, the delivery date, obviously since it's a new start, of our phone number here if we needed to contact them for whatever reason, contact information, address information, the frequency of delivery for that product, the delivery instructions here if there were any. You see that this one has a label and the time that it was updated. Okay. We'll close here. That's the new start page. Select our parameters, hit Get, brings us back our data, which we can export to Excel and work on however we need to. Okay. The next section is account lookup, or account info rather, I'm sorry. Here we can review the customer's transaction history, which includes complaints, by entering in some of the information here in the filters. So we'll start with the address filters. Got one prepared here. And something that I found out through just playing around and testing a little bit, when you put it in the city, state, and zip, don't use commas. It won't take, it'll bounce back as an error. And below it, I don't believe it will bring back any information. So, see how many times I've tried testing it out there. Okay, so if I've entered everything correctly, we'll hit Get Account List. Awesome. So it brought back an account list for us. We could see that there are multiple, there's different account numbers at this one address. In order to work with that one, we just want to work with this account number. We'll come over to the far left and hit Select. And now we're able to see our account info details for this account number ending in 8529. You can see that it is active. Product is FJ, our address there that we've entered in, the name of the customer. We don't have a label. It is home delivery, when it was created, phone number, the plants it's in per day, frequency of delivery, a few more information, mostly on the geocoding side of things, which we're not going to touch upon at the moment. Okay, if we wanted to work with a different account, we can just go and select the different account that we want to work on at this one address. All right, I'm just going to clear this out. I don't have a phone number, but it works largely the same way. This time, don't enter in dashes. Right, so commas, don't enter in commas for your city, state, zip. Don't enter in the dashes for the phone number. All right, if we had an account number, we would enter that in here. UAT. And we'll click Get Account Info, which should populate the account info's details. And now we're looking at that account. Here we can check out the history, transaction history. See, it's just populating the data in here for the demo. Service location info. Again, our account number, basic information here. Customer name, frequency. See if there's any, looks like messages here. Okay. And more geocoding information down at the bottom. Go over to complaints. Doesn't look like there are any complaints at the moment for this account number. Routing history. Here we go, we can see changes in address, anything on that route. Okay, but to look up the account information, really you either need your address, the phone number of the customer, or the account number. So 3 different ways that you could look up the information of the account. Okay, moving along here to address lookup. Again, this just going to touch on this quickly because it's mostly for geocoding, making sure that it's in the right spot. But here we would enter in our address. I'll just use the same. Again, without commas, I believe that would bring back an error in the data. Customer classification, it's automatically selected for home delivery. If we click the drop down, you can see that we have different options to select from. It'll leave it at a home delivery. And then I'm going to click check. Again, this is very quick because it does deal with geocoding, which in further training, but we're not going to touch upon that at the moment. Just wanted to show you guys this tool and how it functions. But we can see that it brings back our geocoding information. Again, just touching on that briefly. The last part here before we can get into some questions if you have them or wrap this up be the download deliveries. Here we could download our final press run. But here we could select our process. to go ahead and select Dart Final, the final press run report. I'm going to click Show Progress. All right. So here we can download the report. Here we have a description of some of the processes that have occurred, the status of those processes, start time and end time. See that it ran and validated geotype failures, if there were any. Ran the reports. And then the final, Dart Final, send completion email to plant recipients. I'm going to go ahead and click the download locations. If we click show reports, it's just going to bring us back to our production reports, which we looked at last week. So we could go ahead and select different reports for the specific routes. I'm going to click download locations. Should open up CSV Excel file. Okay, expand all these sections. Now we can see the press run report for the day. At the top, we got plant. Geocoding information here, side of the street it's on, the right or the left, it's active or not. Classification Z1 again is home delivery, product, work area design route, the route, address information, delivery instructions, if there's any vacation holds. And then we've got the frequency of delivery by day and by product. Okay. So we can put filters on, manipulate it however we need to, make it work for us. I'll close out of that. And that pretty much covers all the capabilities of complaints and mail starts. Looks like we have a couple minutes here. If there are any questions, you want me to go over something again, show you guys another slide. I guess if not, then next week we're going to be talking about route planning, I believe it is, and the DSP composition and the DSP portal mobile, so we can show you guys, what the carriers are going to be seeing when I come out to New York. I'll be setting up the accounts for the carriers at the plants, helping them set up a username, password, so they can go in and see what things are going to be looking like here. But that's next week on Wednesday, same time, I believe.
Nice job, Darren.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks.